Bienvenidos a Ideal Millennial Entrepreneur Podcast, the podcast for millennial entrepreneurs, where each week I share financial tips on how to improve your finance, increase your income, and your mindset as a millennial entrepreneur. Thanks for joining me in today's episode. Empecemos. Welcome to the Ideal Millennial Entrepreneur Podcast, and this is episode number 134. So for today's episode, we are going to dive into the whole notion of failure. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share a YouTube clip of Kobe Bryant explaining the process of failure. So many of you, if you know, you guys are quite aware who Kobe Bryant is. He was a superstar that played for the Los Angeles Lakers. He ended up passing away back in 2020 with his daughter in a horrific helicopter accident. And one thing I have always respected, when I was growing up watching Kobe play, I was not a fan of the Lakers. I actually hated the Lakers. And to see that now that he's passed away, and I have got a chance to look at his or understand his mindset when it comes to winning, because you can always learn from anyone. And I always feel you can learn so much from your mistakes, especially your failures. But we are in life, we're afraid to take those chances and fail. So what we do is you have a lot of people out here in this world that just don't take any chances in life. And because they're scared for whatever reason, could be scared, could be don't have the right support system, they don't have the right financial backing, etc. But the reason I'm discussing this too is because my daughter is graduating college. She's graduating high school this year, and she's about to embark on another journey of her life. And one thing I can say that is it is much appreciative to see that she's came here from a long place of where she used to be. And now, she's going to have the opportunity to get into the world and try to embark this new journey in life. And there's going to be a lot of failures. And a lot of us are afraid to get to that point in life. So for me, this episode is me sharing the clip of Kobe Bryant, but also understand whatever that you may be feeling right now is you need to understand that you're going to make mistakes in life. Whatever you decide to do, whether it's a business, go for a promotion at work, raising kids, having a successful marriage, all this is part of the process. And it's a part of the process, is part of who you become. But when it comes to failure, we are so afraid to start or do anything because we want to stay safe. And I believe when it comes to failure, you have to enjoy the fail. And that's the only way you're going to get better, because you will never get better if you don't enjoy failing. And for me, today's episode, that's what's going to cover, from the mindset of someone who won 5 championships, of an athlete, one of the greatest players of all time, all that jazz. So hopefully you enjoy this podcast episode. It is much appreciative you taking the time to listen to this podcast episode. I am sorry about that. And for me, this is a great opportunity for us all in life, for us to push through these failures, push through and learn from these mistakes that you make. Okay. So thank you very much. And now I'm going to leave you with the snippet, a recording of Kobe Bryant in his explanation of failure.
I always think that there's two types of players who love to win and players who hate to lose. Which one are you?
I'm neither.
Meaning?
Meaning that, you know, I play to figure things out. I play to learn something, right? Because I think if you play with a fear of failure, or you play with the will to win, or that supersedes the fear of failure, I think it's a weakness either way, right? Because if you play with the fear of failing, you'll have the pressure on yourself to play, you know, to capitulate to that fear. If you play with the sense of I want to win, then you have the fear of what happens if you don't. But if you find common ground in the middle, in the center, then it doesn't matter. You're unfazed by either, right? And that enables you to really just stay in the moment, stay connected to it, and not feel anything other than what's in front of you. So, you know, I try to just be dead center.
So a lot of people in general are afraid of failure. How did you become one of those people who doesn't seem to be afraid of failing?
It doesn't exist. It's not existent. What the hell does that mean? Seriously, what does failure mean? It doesn't exist. It's a figment of your imagination. What does it mean?
You're pulling a Jedi mind trick on me right now. I was like, does it exist?
No, I'm serious. Like, I'm trying to think, like, how can I explain it? So, let's use happy endings, right? And then we can relate this to failure, why it's not existent. Like, you know, everybody talks about, like, everybody wants a happy ending, right? Now let's go to the reality of it, right? Let's look at a fairy tale story. Let's look at Snow White. Mm-hmm. She gets a happy ending. She finds Prince, whatever. She goes on. She lives happily ever after. Well, I call bullshit on that, because 2 months later, the fact is they had an argument and he's sleeping on the couch. Right? So the point is, the story continues. The story continues. So if you fail on Monday, the only way it's a failure on Monday is if you decide to not progress from that. Right? So to me, that's why failure is not existent. Because, you know, if I fail today, okay, I'm going to learn something from that failure, and I'm going to try again on Tuesday. And I fail, and I'm going to try again on Wednesday. So it doesn't exist.
You know what? Should my ratings go in the tank? That's exactly what I'm going to say to the bosses. Hey, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, but you know what?
We should try it again on Thursday.
If your ratings go in the tank, and you know, which they won't, but if they did, you had learned a valuable lesson. You had learned a bunch of ways of how not to make a show that sucks. So then the next one will be better than the last one, right?
So are you telling me then, let's just say all the career statistics that you've compiled, they all still exist, you still play for the Lakers, still, and all of that still happens. If you finished your career without a championship, you would not have looked at that as a failure?
No, I would have looked at it as being extremely disappointed, because I had a dream and I had goals that I wanted to accomplish, right? And if I don't accomplish those goals, I have to ask myself why, right? So from my position, the reason why I would not have accomplished those things is poor leadership, failure to communicate properly with my teammates to put them in positions to be successful, lack of preparation. You know, all those things would be reasons why I don't win, right? So now, if that was the case, in my career, I have to sit and I have to analyze that. And then as I move and I evolve, you know, post basketball into business or whatever, those same weaknesses are going to reveal themselves there, right? So if I don't learn from that, I'm going to struggle here too, right? So I can take those situations and learn from those and have them, you know, make me a better person later in life. But if I don't take that stuff and apply that someplace else, then that's failing, which to me is the worst possible thing you could ever have, is to stop and to not learn.
So Kobe has created